Good morning guys, it's James here from Sunseeker Southampton down at a very sunny Ocean Village Marina in the heart of Southampton today to have a look around a brand new to market Sunseeker Manhattan 52. She's currently called Stomp, although the owner is taking the name across to his new boat. So she's just a brand new listing to market, very exciting, one of the only ones based in the UK here. UK tax paid, delivered in October 2019. She was actually the Southampton showboat in 2019, so very, very high spec. We're going to run her out today to get a chance to have a look around all the systems, some manoeuvring, and we'll talk you through the specs and what have you. Reading just over 111 hours on the engine, so very little usage. She was serviced, generator done, all in September this year, so actually got extended Volvo warranties as well, so there's another 3 years to come on those. She's got a balance of extended Sunseeker factory warranty on the actual boat itself through till the 10th of December this year. So absolutely wonderful opportunity, presents almost as new. I have to say the owner's fastidious on this one, has a local maintenance company keeping her absolutely perfect all the time. So we've just taken the covers off. She's behind us here on the pontoon. So could potentially stay here in Ocean Village if you want to stay here on the south coast. Talk to us a little bit more if you want to look at other options in the central Solent here or down into the West Country and what have you. We're very well connected through the Sunseeker network. They should be able to find you something to suit your preferred location. Just walking around the outside here, see absolutely stunning condition. So she's rail white gel coat, those big signature windows, Manhattan 52 being arguably the most successful Sunseeker model that we ever built. Black boot top stripe down there. So the owner has her booked in for a full valet ready for sale, so they're going to go right through the teak and detail cleaning of the boat. Presents absolutely lovely anyway, if I'm honest, but just shows the level of detail he goes to. We're just taking the opportunity today with the weather forecast not looking so good next week to run her out where we get the drone out as well, so you can see some running shots, see how she runs. So D11 725 engine, so we get up to around 30 knots, wide open throttle. Owner is taking the tender with him, which is a 280 Sur here on the back. We can supply you one of these to go straight on the back if you wish. It's going on to his new Sunseeker, which is delivering in a few weeks' time. So on the transom here, we'll have a little look through all of this when we get up and going. So I'm just going to give you a quick start-up procedure. In the back locker here, we have our battery switches, so we have one for each engine, and the domestic systems for generator, nav kit, and what have you. So those have been turned on already, and you can hear the engine fans come into life. We'll have a look through all of this in a bit once we get out off the dock. So coming up to the helm here, so we've already got our ignitions turned on here, so we're just going to start our engines up here. You hear them fire into life. So we've got both our 2.5-inch Volvo displays here, which give us all sorts of temperatures and pressures and what have you. It's plugged into the NEMA 2000 system there, so you can see it running up on the chart plotter as well. We've got proportional bow and stern thruster controls here, which are really handy for docking. The more you push the sticks, the more power it has. So she's literally ready now to drop lines and off the dock. So running out with a colleague here today, just the two of us, so we'll be able to show you how these are very easy to handle and check back in a bit. So we're just going to come up to the Flybridge Helm. Always easier to come off the dock up here. You can see what space we've got to work with. Not too bad on the side, couple of meters space. We just power up our plotter system. So we just have to activate our station up top here. And I like to just always do a quick check in there to make sure we've got gear control and that our thrusters are working. So that's all good. Just turn our VHF on as well. Store our little cover away in the cupboard there. So on the autopilot control here, you can see the little rudder reference moves there as I rotate the steering wheel. So for manoeuvring, I'm just going to leave this centralised. and we'll do all our manoeuvring here just on our throttle controls and on our thrusters. So just tell our screens we're happy. So we'll just come back down so you can see how the lines are set up on here. So we're going to leave our shore power on the dock here. So this is what we call the spring lines in the middle, just stopping us come backwards. So what Adam's going to do here is just take this line off so that we're just left with our bow line, which we'll take off first, and then we're going to come back, take our stern line off, and we'll be away from the dock. So the nice thing with the proportional thrusters is I can actually hold this on the dock here if I want to. So here, if I just engage a little bit of starboard thrust, you can see the little arrow on the panel there, and it's actually now, see the thrust in the water surface there, it's pinning the boat on the dock here.
Shall I put that stuff away first?
No, that's perfect. So if you just drop the stern line off here and we'll be off. So our bow line's off. See Adam's put it up onto the deck here. So just taking that stern line off there. Nice calm day, so you use things like the flags here, and up the top of the mast there they have little wind direction indicators. So we're all good now. So we're pinned on the dock, lines are off, but the boat's sitting here quite happily. See the space we have to work with, so we're going to stay quite tight on this pontoon as we come off. So I'm just going to take my thruster control off now, just a little bit of thrust just to take us off the dock. I'm just going to walk her out dock here. You see I'm doing everything nice and slow, just letting the boat drift off the dock here. You can see over the side here where they are, so just use a little bit of thruster here, keep us nice and tight on this pontoon. Important to do everything nice and slow. So I'm literally just knocking the engines in and out of gear. We can see down the back there, bathing platform. And then to do our manoeuvre here, we're just going to put this one ahead of this one astern. We're actually going to rotate the boat pretty much on its own axis, so one way, one the other. I can use a little bit of thrust there just to help it round. You can see how that rotates really nicely on its own axis. Very, very manoeuvrable. Do everything nice and slow here. Just we finished our rotation there. Literally just going to knock this one into gear and this one into gear, and we'll be off. So you can see doing everything nice and slow just gives us plenty of time to assess the situation. I'm just knocking it back into neutral from time to time just to let the speeds off a bit. So we've got a reverse camera on here, which is really handy on a not so nice day when you've got all the covers up. We can see what our crew are doing on the back. Quite handy. It's got a very limited night vision range as well, which is quite handy if you're coming on the dock after dark. You can see I just use one engine at a time if you want to here. What a gorgeous day. Who needs to be down in the med when it's like this? So you can see stood here obviously at the Flybridge Helm. We've got plenty of room on the floor here around us, and that panoramic view all the way there from the stern right up to the bow. Very, very easy to handle, these 52s. Great boat if you're running with just a couple on board, or if you've got a family with all sorts of kids and what have you. You've got loads of room up here to keep an eye on everybody when you're out at sea. This boat does have a big Bimini, which is the big Flybridge sun protected cover that sits up here. Owner's got it stored off the boat back in a garage at home, so that'll be fitted back on the boat before she goes off to her new owner. So Ocean Village here, right in the heart of Southampton. You can obviously see all the high rises around us. We've got the Harbour Hotel in the middle there, which is a lovely facility with a couple of good restaurants in there, and you've also got access potentially to the gym if you take out a berth here on one of their premium berths. They do have some very limited availability at the moment, so I say talk to us if you want to stay local here, or if you'd rather be further up Southampton Water into the Hamble where we're based. I'm sure we can sort you out with somewhere at Swan, at Universal, or one of the Hamble based marinas. So Adam's just putting the fenders away into the anchor locker up forward. There's room in there to get a good 8 fenders. You see we've got some down both sides. Seats have the little drop down bolster here, so I can drop that back into position, and I can now sit here at the helm, and I'm sort of protected now a little bit more with all my nav kit straight in front of me. Screens display a multitude of different things. They're multifunction MFDs, so we've got this particular one currently configured here with a chart plotter, a sonar module, and obviously with the camera if we want to display something else. So we can put chart onto this one, and over here, let's say we'll put our radar on. So we're just going to power our radar up. See how that works. That'll come into life in a sec. You can see that big open array scanner up top there firing into life. So you can see the channel here. The little ships on here are what we call AIS targets. So if we come across here, we can actually find out some information about what the boat is. It's all touchscreen as well as the buttons, so it's a hybrid touch system. Allows you to use obviously at sea if it's wet and the finger's not working so much on the screen. It works really nicely with the buttons as well. And you can see with the cartography in here, we can see where we'll be running out today into Southampton water. So we're going to have a run up and down here so we can get the drone out and do some aerial shots, give you a chance to see what the boat looks like up and running. So check back in a bit. We've got about 10-15 minutes running slow speed down here, chance for the engines to warm up, and we'll be off and out ready to show you a little bit more. Okay, so we're now out the end of Hythe Pier there. The speed limit's finished. You can just hear some chatter on the commercial channel 12 here. So we're just going to open the engines up. You'll hear the turbos start to boost. You'll see the speed here as it comes up. It takes a little bit of time, obviously big heavy boat. We're about 30 tons on one of these. You can see it starting to climb as we come up onto the plane. Cruising speed on one of these is around 22 knots. She burns about 160 litres an hour at that speed. So we're punching a bit of tide today. So it takes a little bit of time just to get up and going. They run about 28 knots flat out. And we've got our hydraulic trim tabs here, so I'm just going to put a little bit of tab on to bring the nose down. And you'll see that speed come up a bit more. Still responsive for a big boat here, so you can see as I turn on the wheel here. Very majestic in how it handles, very sure-footed in the water. If you've got guests on board that aren't quite so sure-footed, it feels really solid. They're a good sea boat, these 52s, done lots of sea miles across the channel and what have you. Works very well in our typical waters here. You can see our helm instrumentation here when we're running along is all nicely, almost heads up layout here. And if I just hold the camera in eye line, above you might get a little bit of wind in the microphone. You can appreciate great visibility all the way around. Lovely shot of the wash there. It's a very calm day here on the south coast. So we can monitor things like temperatures and pressures and what have you on these gauges. Engine's very much digitally controlled these days, so if they're not happy about anything, they'll tell you well in advance of any problems. Carrying an almost full tank of fuel at the moment. And then we've got a bank of switches here, things like anchor controls, underwater lights. And then the autopilot control here, so we can see if we don't want to steer the boat, we can put that onto autopilot and it'll hold a heading. Now you can see it's locking into a heading, and we can control, just adjust that a little bit on here, and you'll see the boat coming round to a new heading. And if we want to turn that off, literally just hit the standby and we're back onto manual control on the wheel. Another multifunction gauge over here, so we can display whatever we like on here. Lots of different pages. Tend to run a rudder reference, it's quite handy gauge. Obviously things like thrusters turn off when we're up and running. And we've got our VHF control here. I'm running channel 12 today, which is the commercial channel here in the port, just to monitor what's going on. So it's a tilt steering wheel, so you can see obviously it's nicely right in front of me here at the moment. See that lovely little centralised badge there as we move the wheel, that stays central. So we're just going to ease back off the plane now. We're going to get the drone out and enjoy a few running shots here of her up and down Southampton water. So here we are running back down Southampton water. You can see the boat in profile shot running around 20 knots. A few facts and figures for you. She's 17.21 metres overall, which is 56'6". A beam of 4.87 metres and a displacement of around 30 tonnes fully loaded with fuel, water and stores. Fuel capacity on this particular yacht is 2,200 litres, and we have up 600 litres of fresh water on board. You can see just spinning around on the drone here, we can see the boat from all different angles, majestically running here up on the plane. Nice little top-down shot there to appreciate the space afforded on the foredeck and the flybridge there, obviously with the option to protect the flybridge with that Bimini, should you wish. And just finishing off here with a nice little run along down in profile. An absolute wonderful yacht in every respect. So I hope you enjoyed those lovely running shots of the boat up on the plane. I'm just going to give you a brief look round up top here, and we'll finish off back in the saloon and what have you when we get back into port. So we've got this lovely big social seating area here opposite, low level lights also running throughout the side deck, step lights and what have you. There's an AV package, premium pack here with Sonance speakers outside. You can see them all the way throughout the flybridge here. Big wet bar setup. This particular boat's got the beach club on the back, so owners elected to go the barbecue on the aft. We could add a second one here if you wish. So you've got a little sink there, top loading cool box. This is a handy windbreak if you're ever preparing food up here, or the addition of the grill if you need it. Underneath here, storage cupboard, and then we've got space for a life raft in the back, and then these are all seating areas underneath here. Giant teak table here, you can see beautifully finished, obviously all kept protected under covers when it's not in use. So up top we've got a 64 nautical mile open array scanner there, and we've got things like TV aerial and then the AIS aerial as well. Twin matching VHF aerials there on the arch. I'm saying the Bimini frame to refit back on here at a later date. Upholstery, this is an upgrade to the Diamante fabric, and you can see we've got the nice little double diamond Bentley stitching there, and as we mentioned earlier, these lift up to give you a little bit more working room on the floor when required. You can see up on the bow here, so the table area actually drops down to give you an infill for sun pad, and we've got these lovely big social seating area, the backrest lifting up on these cushions here, somewhere to sit out and read a book and what have you. We've got cup holders, and there's an AV zone up there as well with the Fusion speakers. Up forward we've got a 25 kilo anchor, 60 metres galvanised chain, and as you can see the teak side decks running all the way down here. The teak on this is a Lignia, which actually is a Welsh company, sustainable wood, which we've been trialling very successfully. You can see here throughout the Flybridge as well. Everything is absolutely wonderful condition. Like I say, it is the owner's intention to have all this further cleaned in the next couple of days, ready for final prep to the next lucky owner. Table much the same up on the Flybridge. You've got these little pull-out teak sections, and that opens that up then if you want dining space. We've got room around the back here for a couple of directors' chairs, and over here forward you've got the optional removable bar stools, and this lovely open and closing door system. It was used in some of our Predators previously, but this Manhattan, it works so well. So the window comes up here. Should drop the patio doors around here. And the boat's now totally enclosed. It takes less than a minute, and you've then got the benefit, if the weather's not so nice, just being able to come inside here. The noise is also outside, as this is where the engine room bulkhead is. So we've got good sound insulation when we're underway. And it all just opens back up. Very straightforward when required. So we've got a platinum med pack, so we've got things like the stern docking winches, nice little tails here, rope storage, and the big fair leads additional cleats here for running transverse spring lines in the med. Crew cab and the stern we'll have a look at when we get back in, and we'll finish off in the saloon there as well. So we're just going to get up and running. Join us back in a bit when we'll do some docking back into the port, and then we'll finish off our tour. So we've just come back in up the Itchen Ridge here, and we're coming into Ocean Village now. You can see we've got our line set up. So we've got my bow line running down here to the midships. We've got our stern line down here on the platform, hooked on that cleat, so everything's nicely ready to go. So I'm just going to turn my thrusters back on. Little blip on those just to check they're working. Now what I'm going to try and do, put the camera on the seat next to us so you can just see me manoeuvring the controls, and then when we get actually into the mooring I'll show you how the how much space we've got. So I'm just going to put the camera across on the seat here. Hopefully that gives you a good view of where we are. So we're doing just over 5 knots at the moment, and I'm going to knock it out of gear now just to slow everything down to give us a bit more time. We're just going to walk it in one engine at a time. So whilst we've still got some water flow over the rudders, I can use a bit of steering if I want to, but once we get into the manoeuvring phase I'm just going to centralise my steering, and I'm going to do everything on my thruster and throttle controls. So we've eased the speed down now, we're running about 3 knots. Still enough water flow there that I can use the rudders. So we get a funny wind in here where it circles through the building, so we just have to be aware that just when you think it's coming from one direction, it actually turns to another direction. So I find it's quite intuitive to turn around, and effectively with my throttles facing backwards, what I'm doing is actually what's going to happen to the boat. Might actually be easier to show you this with the camera. Come and hold it here, see what we're doing here. So just going to knock this one into reverse. You can see that brings the stern boat across. Remember, we've got a platform on the back there. Just using the wind, gentle breeze over on our left hand side. We're going to get pretty much lined up with this pontoon before we back in. You see, we're just doing everything on the throttle controls here. No need yet for the thrusters. Just going to use a little bit of bow thruster there just to bring my nose across. So we're just going to gently drift in here on the pontoon. Nice thing about doing everything slowly is we've got plenty of time to assess the situation. Just going to square myself up on the mooring there. And then we're going to bring her back. So again, just on the throttles, nice and slow. Just keeping the nose in on the thruster. If we come across and have a look how much space we got. And I'm just going to get it all the way back so that Adam can then step off there to do the lines. What we can now do with the thruster controls, of course, as we've done in several other videos before, we can now put a bit of power on our thruster controls, and it's now actually pinning the boat on the dock here. So see, that holds it nicely in place. Gives him a chance to get the lines on. We could actually leave the helm now if we wanted to, so put maybe one more click on there. See, we're pinned. You can see the thrust from the controls there, and we're in. So we're just going to get all our lines tied off and we'll finish off inside. So now that we're back in, safely tied up, we're just going to have a tour in through the internals of the yacht here. So obviously we showed you how this door arrangement worked earlier. Works very nicely opening up the boat here to connect the aft cockpit through into the galley and the seating forward. So we're fully equipped in here. Electric 17.5 kilowatt generator upgrade, so we've got a 4-burner electric smeg top, oven there that never looks like it's being used. Plenty of pan drawers. This is your glasses storage in here. A slimline dishwasher. Storage cupboards everywhere on these. See lots of owners' personal possessions still on here, so there'll be a little bit to clear off over the coming weeks prior to the boat being handed over to the next owners. So we've got plate and cup storage up the top there. This is an extractor in this one. There's a handy bin in the corner. Good size single bowl sink there, and plenty of room. You can see obviously they've got a coffee machine up top. There's room over the other side here for toasters and other bits and pieces for the kitchen itself. Lots of provision storage. A couple of drawers as well. The cutlery's in the top one under here. Across on this side, so this is all upgrades from the factory. So we've got an ice maker and that lovely big glass front wine fridge. This one's your AV setup. So this is your PepWave router. It takes a SIM card in there and you've got data connectivity within about 20 miles of land. You'll have to put your own card in that, as the owner will take that with him. And then here's your fridge, freezer above. Wood floor in here, so we're a Cadorin hardwood silver oak finish here, and then the cabinetry itself is in a satin finish on the black American walnut. Very classic in here, very popular. And having been here only in the UK, not out in the Mediterranean, the wood fade is absolutely marginal. It looks pretty much like the day she came out of the factory. So coming forward, we then got the main deck saloon area here. So there's a couple of steps up here just to give you a little bit more of an elevated position. You've got these lovely big glass windows throughout, so very nice place to spend a winter's afternoon if you're boating here in the UK. See an extending dining table here. Can't see a mark on it, literally factory fresh that. Sofa's all very good as well, just looking around here. And across opposite. So TV's in a high-low box tucked up on the side there. 55-inch TV. And then up in the ceiling here you can see the speakers for the surround sound. So that works through that DVD player that was in the cupboard we had a look at just now. Nice thing with it being able to store away is obviously you don't lose that panoramic vista when you don't want to watch the TV. Another clever little feature that was unique on the 52s, so these twin helm seats actually lift up forward. You've got a button here. And they tip over against the lower helm, obviously in port, this space being completely defunct. And then we've got a couple of cushions. There's actually another cushion down in the crew cab for that area there. And it just increases your seating. So then you've got this lovely big social U-shape, gives more room also if you're sitting over in this corner to see the TV. Just come across here, sit down, you can see what I'm on about. So sat in the corner here, I say it's very much great viz all around. Reverse cycle aircon, so we've got the vents up top there, control panels in the aft corner there, alongside our monitoring panels. As with all the Sunseekers these days, this is a secondary screen for things like our CM8 monitoring, electronics. And there's another control up at the helm itself. So just drop this back down. And we can have a look at the electronics. We obviously saw the helm upstairs, it's pretty much mirror image down here. So we're running two NSS Evo 3 Simrad 12-inch plotters here. Piano black dash panels, so everything's lovely. Clinical finish here, and it's all to hand, so just like upstairs, we've got the centered badge. And it's all nice and close by. There's a little opening window here, handy for ventilation, and also, dare I say, if you're coming in docking on not such a nice day, put your head out there, you've got a pretty good visibility up and down the boat itself. Over across opposite here we've got some big storage bins. These go down well beneath the locker lids there. Main electronics panel here is just underneath the helm itself, and then we've got further panels down in the engine room, so nice and easy to get to for your main onboard systems. See carpet throughout the main living spaces just to soften the boat up a little. So good sized stairs here, we've got handrail there, makes it very secure as you're coming down forwards or backwards. And we've got three lower deck cabin layout. So this is the third cabin. So we've got configured as fixed twin single beds. They don't slide or fill in, although we could add a fill in if you ever needed to. You've got things like storage cupboards. Good size wardrobe. These are the original factory fit bed covers, which obviously you'd use if you didn't have the beds configured actually for sleeping in. And being a full AV system here, we've got a little TV up on the bulkhead there, aircon panel. So that bathroom is shared across the hallway here with the forward VIP. So we've got a good space, lots of storage in here. There's storage up in the cupboards here, big window, and then a good sized shower compartment there. Soaker shower up in the roof there, as well as the separate handset. can see how nicely everything's presented. So it's Jack and Jill arrangements. This is a door through to the VIP forward for direct access, and in here itself, big cabin, so nice sized wardrobe. These are all high level cupboards running down either side of the decks. We've got a big natural lighting above us here. You can see in the deck head above us, and then mirror image the other side. So this is a little vanity station, handy storage cupboards. You can see the TV up on the wall there. Then we come down midships to the master stateroom itself. You'll notice the bathroom here on the right just as we come in. Everything again beautifully finished. No marks on the carpets. So behind the door we've got wardrobe arrangement. And then a full beam cabin itself, running thwartships. So standard layout in here with the sideboard over on the starboard side of the boat. Again, loads of storage as a safe, factory upgrade, lots of cupboards and drawers and what have you. We're still on EU 2-pin sockets. They're running plug converters for their electronics on board, but it'd be easy enough to swap those out to UK 3 pins if you wish. And then this was the standard layout on the port side of the boat with the 2 seats and the table arrangement. Again, AV throughout, and we've got speakers up in the ceiling there. You see over here and also over here. So it's a nice place to take breakfast, have a coffee, sit and read, do some work with the laptop over here. On the port side, you can see here it's a nice, very private space. You can still see out of the window if you wish. And then just to show some of the inner workings of the boat, you can see down here underneath all the floors. She's as nice behind the scenes as she is on the cosmetics. You can see up top. So black tank here for the toilet system, aircon circulation pumps. Coming forward, this one's your battery, thruster motor controls and what have you. So last but no means least, we'll have a look in the engine room. The guys have just come on to do a quick wash down from where we've been out. So accessing through the deck hatch here. Come down the ladder forwards or backwards. It's actually pretty good. A little warm in here today, obviously, as we've just been out for a run, but the fans are on a timer. Once they've dropped the temperature down, the silence returns. So beautifully finished in here, as you saw with the hours, very low. No gyro fitted on this particular boat. Can be retrofitted if you need. It drops literally into that hole there. We have to relocate the generator onto a plinth up over onto the right there. It's not a difficult job, and it costs roughly what the factory charged from original. On the forward bulkhead, we mentioned earlier about the electronic systems. So these are all individual boxes for the various systems on board. You can see hot water chlorify there. Fire suppression over here on the starboard side. Tuck through the back there, you have a service area with hydraulic packs for the passerelle, and the hydraulic platform, what have you. Right, just drop that back down. So bathing platform itself. Stand back on the pontoon here. So this section here is hydraulic high-low platform. It'll lift 350 kilos. So there's room for a 325 Williams jet rib. If you wish, this owner opting to go for a 20 horsepower Yamaha there on that Sure tender, say which he's taking with him. So storage itself. This has the optional beach club package. So we've got the shower This is a locker for an F5 C-Bob, if you wish. I'm just going to put my shoes on, the deck's wet. So we've got a seat which drops down, obviously for use once the tender's off the boat. Nice place to sit when you're at anchor. And then hidden in the back here, you can see the barbecue in the prep area. Again, somewhere nice to use in port if you drop the dinghy off, or at anchor if you're out for the day. And then across this side is the crew cab. So this was again a factory option. So we've got wet room floor, makes it very practical for use here in the UK. A bit hard to see in here, everything's full of cushions at the moment, but across on the far starboard side of the boat we've got a separate shower and toilet compartment. You can see the sink on the wall there. There's space in this storage cupboard to add a washing machine. It doesn't have one at the moment, but it's not complicated to add if you needed to. And then you've got this single bed running across the cabin itself. There's a wardrobe tucked around the wall here as well. It's obviously handy straight off the platform. You're not having to climb up and down through the seating in the cockpit itself. Makes it very usable for storing canopies and ropes and what have you. Guys are just putting the covers back on up here. Obviously from the drone shots you get a feel for how all this worked. But again, you can obviously leave all of this out all year round. Don't have to take the cushions off. Up in the front, you see it's partitioned, so we've got the anchor forward and then a space here for putting your fenders in. Behind it there's a plug-in for the deck wash for the shower. You can see the low-level LED lights running down the side decks here. So there you have it. I say unique, currently the only one for sale here in the Saloon, and an ideal opportunity to save a fairly substantial amount over the new 2022 spec Manhattan 55s, which are an update on this hull with slightly bigger engines and a different interior feel to the boat. And this particular one going on the market at £1,150,000 UK tax paid. And we would encourage any early interest to get in touch as soon as possible. She's not going to be around for long, so presenting exactly as you've seen here today in fastidious A1 condition. I really think the first person genuinely looking for one of these on board is no doubt sure to buy her. Contact as always, it's James at sunseekersouthampton.com, or mobiles +44 7747 686 587. Hope you enjoyed that tour with us today. Check back soon for more of the same.